G'day guys, Josh Huggett here from Joshua Huggett Media, and welcome to Tog Talk, a show where we talk about stuff. And today I've got Summer Grace on the show from LA. Very excited.
Let's go.
Hello, Summer. Let's go.
Hello.
Let's pretend that we didn't just have a conversation and this is brand new and we're not already 15 minutes into talking. How are you,
100%.
Summer?
I'm good. I mean, actually, I spent most of the day looking into like stupid health insurance stuff, self-employment, man. And I'm actually very exhausted, but talking to you will be an exciting way to finish out my day.
It is. Because I forget that America doesn't, it's starting strong, doesn't actually care about anybody.
Yeah.
And you have to figure it out yourself.
And it's just so
Wild.
expensive. It's like, why do I need to spend $1,000 for like basic healthcare a month? Like, sometimes I'm like, man, should someone just go get a job at Starbucks? I'm kidding. But genuinely, just for the sake of self-employment health insurance, it's just not good. I don't know. Health insurance, America, it's not good.
It's not a good start. Anyway, Summer, can you tell anybody that's listening to this, because we have vastly different audiences, and that's what I kind of like about where I sit in this little internet space, is that everybody that I'm friends with has completely different ideas and values and internet presences to me. So can you tell the hundreds of listeners that we get an episode? One day I'm going to be able to say thousands, and that's going to be a very exciting time.
Yes. I feel like it's like in a week you'll have that.
We've had a couple hit 1,000, and I was like, oh, it feels like, do you remember when you first started growing? We will get back to talking to you about you. But do you remember when you first started growing and you see those, like that post that did a little bit better, and that, you know, that one reel that got a few more views than the other one? I'm back at fucking ground zero, starting again, and like watching, and like I made a post recently and we doubled our followers on Spotify. And I was like, oh, we've done it. We're like 500 followers now. It's wild. Anyway, Summer, tell the world who you are.
Well, I'm Summer Grace, or you can call me Summer. I always joke that, I don't know, to the photography world, I'm Summer Grace, but real people know my actual last name, so I'm not going to tell you guys that one. But Summer Grace, I live in LA. I'm a wedding photographer and educator. I haven't always lived here. We moved here like 2 years ago. I mostly shoot, I'd say maybe like mid-luxury weddings. I don't know. I shoot fairly nice, but I still shoot with normal people, kind of wedding clientele. And I'm there because that's the kind of people I enjoy and the kind of art I want to make. So I currently teach. I go to conferences. I have a community. I have a podcast. I shoot a lot of film. I don't know. I do a lot of things. I feel like, or at least I feel like I'm doing a lot of things, but mostly shooting weddings.
You have like 1,000 film cameras that you bring to weddings. It's pretty close to 1,000.
Yeah.
Why? Why? And I understand, like I kind of like taking film, but I never get it developed.
Yeah.
But why would you bring use five film cameras, isn't it?
It might be more. I would need to count.
Christ,
I would need to name them and count.
What
I don't know.
Look like when you're fucking walking around with all, like, I feel like an idiot when I've got two. But anyway, why would you bring 5 film cameras to a wedding opposed to a digital camera or a mirrorless camera, whatever you want to call them, that you could then edit to look film?
Well, personally, I can't. Everyone might disagree with me. I personally cannot actually edit a digital image to actually look like film. If anything, really good film, in my opinion, oftentimes is higher quality than really good digital. If we're talking medium, large format, I mean, you can't even get your digitals to be that good. I'm not personally shooting that kind of film. I feel like I do have a medium format camera I bring to weddings, but I'm shooting more of the film that people these days are wanting when I'm shooting that at weddings, that kind of shitty on purpose or like film kind of look, And while you can try and edit your digitals to look that way, truly, even though I sell presets and I try to edit some of my digitals like that, I actually like, in my galleries personally, I don't edit my digitals to look like film, even though I love film. I love digital too. I want my digitals to look like digitals, and I want my film to look like film. And I know even my lab that I took it to recently, they asked, oh, can we see some of your digital work so we can try and match the scans? And I was like, no, I want my digital to be my digital, and I want my film to be my film. I like that they're kind of separate of each other and that the client is getting a very dynamic gallery. Do you know what I mean?
Also, just completely unrelated, for the first time, you've been super pixelated this entire time, and there was 15 seconds there where you came into full clarity, and I was like, Summer's here. Anyway, that won't affect anybody because this is recorded really highly, but I'm looking at you like a pixelated version.
You're like, hello?
Summer. Yeah, you're really like moving kind of like this, and it's really slow and funny. But the film thing's always kind of confused me. And I can't figure out why it actually looks so good. I don't you take film photos. I don't want to say it's a vibe, but there's something in them that's completely like unreplicable. I would say.
Exactly.
Like
that's why when you were saying, why don't you just edit your digitals like film? Why are you shooting film? Like, that's why people are shooting film.
Yeah. I feel like there would be a whole sea of people. Do you think somebody should start with film now? So like, say most of the people that will listen to this are probably new photographers. Most of the time it's new photographers that are listening. Is that something, do you think people should be trying to implement now, or is that something that people should be like set up a sort of foundation before they come into actually adding extra shit?
I mean, I did start learning how to use film at a similar time that I started learning how to use digital, like 17, 18 years old. I was into all the film YouTubers. I just had like a cheap SLR manual film camera. Would I suggest someone trying to actively shoot a wedding to run out there with a manual SLR? Maybe not. That's a different conversation. But when it comes down to the fundamentals of cameras and learning your settings, I do think you can learn a lot from shooting film. And I think digital users who have been shooting digital for years and are young enough that they never shot on film cameras, like inherently, that learning how to shoot film or even just trying to do it, if you know your basic camera settings, most photographers can also shoot film. But doing it in general, the way that it's different, and, I'm going to overexpose intentionally rather than underexpose. There's things that are different between film and digital that you'll be more likely to do. But all of that to say, when you start learning those techniques and things that you enjoy doing, I do think film teaches you a lot about things in many different ways that digital won't teach you. Like when I started shooting film with the intention of shooting it at weddings, I had already been shooting weddings for full time for like 2 years. So I had to learn, how do I incorporate this into my actual weddings I'm booking and shooting? And that was a whole different thing where I do feel like I learned how to slow down some and see light differently than I could have ever taught myself how to see it shooting digital only.
Yeah. So for anybody listening, that I'm very new to film. I've taken some film photos at weddings, and I learnt film in high school and then kind of left. But you do have to, because these days we just tell everybody, backlight your subject. You're using a mirrorless camera. Just backlight your subject and then bring it up in post. But it's the opposite in film, isn't it? You have to front light your subjects because otherwise the light doesn't actually work, because you can't just bring it back up in post.
Yeah, you can't really resurrect shadows that aren't there due to how, it's all literally captured and processed and the analog side of things. But you still could shoot, say, a moody photo with the intention of it maybe being muddy on purpose if that was the route you wanted to go. But you're not going to shoot it and be like, hey, I'm going to throw it in a Lightroom and just brighten up their face. The information is literally not there to do that.
Do you edit your film photos at all? Because I know some people that are like, I will never edit a film photo. That is as it's taken. That's why you buy the certain film stock, like you're shooting on Portrait 800 because you want it to look like that. But then I know other people that are like, well, no, I can just make it heaps better. And I don't think there's any right or wrong answer there, but do you touch yours up to fix them, or is it that's the whole point of a film camera?
Yeah, I actually posted this on Instagram not that long ago, a reel of me using generative AI on someone in the background of a film photo. And I was like, I feel like this could be controversial, because I would say a film purist would be like, why are you using AI on a film photo? Just use a digital camera. I could see film people having like a stick up their butt about that specifically, but actually the comments were most of them were very supportive. Like, yeah, I mean, back in the day, we would manipulate things in the lab anyways in processing, or, in different like analog ways of doing that. And I am fine with admitting that I don't develop and scan my own film. I do own a scanner. I could scan my own film, but I don't have time to do that. So I'm not going to touch on like, oh, well, back in the day, you could like cut this person out of a picture. And no. But I think there's ways to use today's tech to make everything better in your life. So if you can remove some ugly car out of an image, even a film image, why not make your film a little better? And now as far as like coloring and how that side of it works for me, personally, I don't tweak the colors and tones much. I do feel like that's why I choose certain stocks. But say you're getting colors where you're just like, this sucks. These colors are not good. This is not what I think of when I think of film. Most likely it's not your film. Most likely it's not you. Most likely it's the lab you're sending it to. And labs have a lot of control over the overall result they send you. They're making adjustments too that maybe most people listening to this aren't even aware that the lab has control and changing things after they scan it in. So I actually send my lab a reference sheet with images of how I want the tones to like look when I get it back. So yeah, I mean, if a lab's gonna make some micro adjustments, I think you can too, but I'd never throw like a preset on top of my film,
So essentially you're giving, it's a little different for you because you give a reference sheet, but you just give the editing process to someone else, really, because of the film lab's going to do the processing. And look, wedding photographers of yester probably developed their own film. They probably had their own darkroom, so they had complete control. But if you're giving the film to somebody else and they develop it and they put it through their lab, and like you said, the stores have their own way of processing it and they'll make their own micro adjustments. Really what your film photos look like, as much as you can take them in a certain way, is up to the film lab itself. See, I didn't realize I knew they could do certain things, like you expose it for a certain time and that's how they do all that sort of stuff. But I thought even then it would kind of come out the same.
No, yeah, they definitely can have like almost a look to them that they have control over. So depending on what scanners they're using, and like Frontier and Aritsu or all the different scanners and stuff, I have seen literal, like, it'd be like a very ancient version of our like top section in Lightroom almost. But I've never scanned on like pro grade scanners, so I cannot tell all of you, oh, I know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not going to admit to knowing that, but I do know they have way more control than the average film user thinks they have, who is not, say, scanning and developing their own film. Do you know? So take that with a grain of salt. When I went to like in lab owned by 6-year-olds, I felt like my scans looked like it was a lab owned by 6-year-olds. And now I'm using a Pro Lab, but sometimes I actually prefer, which Pro Lab would be its own thing too. There's like Pro Labs as well, which I'm new to, but basically literally just Pro Labs, kind of like a luxury wedding photographer. It's going to cost a little extra, but they're going to organize your photos you get back from the wedding, organize the rolls and put them in order and color them all to make sure like the beginning of the day does look kind of similar to the end if they can, not color them, but, just keep all of your film in line with all of your film. If you shoot a roll of Cinestill, it's still going to look like Cinestill. They can't make it look like Portra, but, they're going to do their best. So I do use a Pro Lab now, given at weddings I might be shooting 20 plus rolls of film. But sometimes I take my film to the little lab in K-Town nearby because their tones, it's just different. It's kind of edgy. It's kind of messy on purpose. And for some weddings, that's the vibe. So I'll go there.
So you'll even change the shot per wedding based on the wedding type?
Yeah, I mean, if the wedding is kind of edgy.
For wedding.
If the wedding's kind of edgy, I love the Pro Lab I've been going to, but personally, sometimes the scans at the lab in K-Town they're just different.
Yeah, interesting. I thought you would have used like Pro Lab for wedding stuff, like you shoot a wedding, and then maybe the small town lab for just like personal shoots and like, do you shoot film of like family stuff or is it just weddings now?
I would like to shoot film and digital more in my personal life, but I definitely feel like one of those photographers who kind of is slacking in the shooting for yourself department right now. But we have a baby and my husband is leaving the business and I'm a busy gal. So yeah, I mean, personally, I would never drive the personal film to the Pro Lab. It's 45 minutes outside the city. I'd tape it to the one in K-Town, but also wedding dependent. If I didn't shoot a ton of rolls, because the lab also, they're going to like make sure there's no film borders. It saves me a lot of time to go to the Pro Lab. It also costs more.
So a 45-minute drive saves you hours post, essentially.
And in the delivery, they don't include any borders, anything. The other lab, I get borders that I have to crop down. And so there's more post-processing to using the cheaper lab, which is why there are things like Pro Labs.
Yeah. So before we go into family and not taking photos of your actual families, because I'm in the exact same fucking boat.
Yeah.
If somebody was starting film photography or they were like, hey, I'm thinking about getting a sort of a film camera or just delving into it a little bit, I've got my answer. But what do you think would be like a nice little film stock that they could start on that's not too expensive and maybe a little bit forgiving, and a camera that would take some cool photos?
Yeah, so I'm going to give two different answers, even though you didn't ask for this. I'm going to say cameras maybe that would just be recommended to people wanting to get into film, but then maybe what I would say for people who are actively shooting professional weddings. So for people just interested in film, like the Canon, if you're a Canon shooter, the Canon EOS 3, Canon EOS 1V, some of the old Canon EOS Rebels, those all take Canon glass, the EF glass, not mirrorless, like not RF glass, but they all take EF glass and they're pretty affordable. I think the EOS 3, I think you can find it for like $150.
Like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I got one just recently.
Not too bad. So great camera if you're a Canon shooter. Similar concept, Nikon's F series is very good. I've shot on those before and loved the results. Outside of that, obviously you can go a lot more expensive or cheaper. You can do point and shoots, easy point and shoots if you just want to dip your toes in and have something fun to take on vacations. But still, that's hard to. Maybe a Canon Sure Shot or Olympus Miju series are really good. Those are a little pricey. But as far as if you were an active wedding shooter who's already shooting weddings, you follow Josh because you love that he shoots weddings, you shoot weddings. You want to maybe shoot film or incorporate it into your packages. My advice on this, people might not agree with. I actually suggest that people start with a cheap point and shoot. And film people would probably disagree with me. But the thing is, you already know how to work a camera. You could figure out manual settings of film. What you need to get used to is, how am I going to carry an extra camera? How am I going to load film on a wedding day when it's busy? You need to actually figure out what lab you want to go to, what stock you like. You know how to use a camera. Like, the camera choice is not the big decision. The big decision is, how do you actually juggle, say in my scenario, shooting 5 cameras on one wedding day?
So I actually agree, very much so. My recommendation for a brand new film photographer, and they're just looking at like getting a film photography camera and they want to go take some cool stuff, is actually the pretty sure it's Canon, but the AF35M. I've got that. That's a point and shoot. Love it. Some of the it was like, I took photos of my daughter's first day at kindy on that camera, and they came back, and I was like, these are too good to be filmed for. Like, they're just they're sick. And that was on 400, and I was like, oh, this is fantastic. Like, I loved the photos. And then, but the first camera that I bought, I have it tattooed on my hand for those watching the video, is actually the Canon AE1. That's what I thought I needed, because everybody was like, buy the AE1, it's the best film camera ever made, blah, 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 blah. It's great for wedding photography. And I bought it, and it is all of those things, but exactly like you said.
Fully manual camera. You can't use, it's going to be impossible for you to incorporate into a wedding day.
Yeah, I was trying to just like, I just wanted to add some film photos to my wedding days to see if it was kind of like, if I liked it, if it matched my sort of style.
Yeah.
But being fully manual, you have to essentially stop what you're doing and then get that photo, which doesn't match my style at all, which is where the AF35 comes in. And I was actually dissecting one the other day, but there's another camera that's also pretty good.
Normal Google, if you Google what film cameras should I use as a beginner, it's going to say like, oh gosh, what is it? Like the Minolta X7 something and the Pentax K1000 and the Canon AE1. And while all great, if you are, I'm referencing myself almost like an 18-year-old just trying to learn manual settings of film, shooting some landscapes, you have plenty of time on your hands. All great things, a great thing to learn. I always suggest you might as well own a manual film camera and know how to use it. It's great to learn how to slow down. But if you are professionally working, it might not be your best option, because there's just no reason to put your clients in that scenario where you have this camera literally slowing you down, like actually, for kind of no reason, when you could just buy a better camera that will work better with your workflow, you know?
That's what I found wild about buying the EOS 1 or 3 or whatever I just bought. It has autofocus.
Autofocus.
Which was
yeah,
wild.
all my cameras have autofocus.
All my old lenses that I've used, like I was taking film photos on a 51.2. That just blew my mind. But it makes so much sense, because that's exactly what these lenses were made for. But I've come from trying to learn like manual settings and all this sort of stuff, and then actually having modern technology in my hand, but doing like it sounds weird to say, but like an old school thing is like, it was kind of mind-blowing. Anyway, and then if you were to pick some stocks, I think the Fuji, the Porta 400 is a great little middle ground. That's so in film, you can probably explain it heaps better, but in layman's terms, 400 is 400 ISO, 800 is 800 ISO. So that way, the higher the number, the more you can use it in the dark. So
I don't want to over-explain anything, but Portra 400 would be a great option if you were a wedding photographer looking for a high-quality film that you could use basically at any point of the day. It's not so high in ISO that it's not going to work well if you want to shoot flash. It's not so low that you can't shoot if it's cloudy or overcast. Say you want something cheaper, Fuji 400 is a lot cheaper. I throw that in my fisheye, because why would I throw expensive film in a fisheye camera? You know what I mean? So if you also just need a cheaper option, I use Fuji 400 sometimes. Kodak Ultramax, some people love the tones of, also a lot cheaper. Don't sleep on the cheaper films. They're really not that bad, especially if you're just starting. But I personally do use mostly Portra 400, Portra 8. Actually, I barely use Portra 800 these days. If I'm using 800, I'm normally using Cinestill. But that would be a whole nother can of worms.
I love my 800. I've got I think I've got 12 rolls in the fridge, but I just don't shoot film. Do you keep your film in the fridge, or is that just an urban legend?
No, I do. Well, I do keep my film in the fridge, but say like your fridge died and things melted from the freezer or something, you'd be out of a ton of money if you were keeping all of your film in the fridge. And I had that happen to a friend actually, which is crazy. So she keeps hers in a dry, cool environment now. I live in LA. Our place is always warm, so I keep mine in the fridge. I'll take the risk of like the fridge going out, you know?
So if the fridge went out, is it just the food that would ruin the film, or would the
probably the fact
chemical
that your
imbalance
freezer
ruin it?
is above your fridge and like water would get into everything.
Okay. Australian fridges are different. We have separate. Our fridge and freezers are separate.
Well, I
So
mean,
nothing pours
ours
in.
is above, but I'm sure it's still, I don't know. She just told me her fridge went out. It ruined all of her film, traumatized her. And I'm like, that's a risk I'd still rather take because it's too hot in LA to just keep fridge like in my office, you know?
I was never sure if that was a real thing. If you put you need to put your film in the fridge because it's so it stops chemical reactions in the film ruining it, doesn't it?
I should know this. I don't know the exact answer to your question, but as far as knowing that the temperature affects things, the easiest example would be Polaroid film, man. Oh my gosh. I don't even shoot Polaroids on wedding days anymore. I print them out. Hot take. I literally do the Polaroid printer and just print the Polaroids because if it's slightly cold, slightly hot, I'll get blue Polaroids, I'll get pink Polaroids. I'm over it. It costs so much money. So I just keep my Polaroid film in the fridge, print it out, mail it to the client. It's still a real Polaroid. I'm not like printing a photo. I'm exposing the Polaroid printer to the photo on my phone, and it's taking a literal like chemical reaction Polaroid. So it's still a literal real Polaroid, which I find pretty darn cool, today's technology. But I don't have to take this super sensitive film flying to these different weddings in different climates because, gosh, that film, nothing's more sensitive than Polaroid film, I feel like.
Yeah, I used to carry a Polaroid. That's how I started. I was trying to do more like physical stuff. And I started with a Polaroid camera around my chest.
Yeah.
And every single photo was shit.
Yes.
Because you're going from hot room to cold room to full sun to dark, and it would just there was absolutely no consistency in any of the photos. I feel like you need to open a packet, put it in the camera, because I had to finish it like that hour, like and then just wait for the next one. Because
For me, it's like flying. Like, I don't know. My film just never turned out that good. I think it's just not realistic with flying and stuff. Black and white is fine. Sometimes if I want to do something, maybe black and white. But yeah, I'll carry 5 cameras on a wedding day, but I will not carry a Polaroid around. It just feels like a bulky piece of gear that's lying around in places it doesn't belong, which is maybe how you feel about me and my 5 cameras. But that's how I feel about Polaroid cameras.
Oh, you're back. You disappeared for a second there. I was just talking to myself.
Strange. Oh.
Anyway, so you don't take any photos of your kid. I don't take any photos of my kid. I've gotten to the point, but like, it's just, this is, I've actually got a whole class at my workshop in December on this that Tash is going to come and teach about trying to keep your passion and your excitement for photography after you turn it into a full-time job, because it essentially sucks that sort of life out of you. And I keep trying to find little gadgets and little things that I can maybe bring it back. And, it's fun having all of the tools. Like the other day, me and my son were sitting in the playroom and I put like the little DJI camera on a remote control car, and we were watching through remote view as we were driving through the house. But other than that, like, my cameras don't leave my camera bag ever.
I think photographers just need a smaller kit. If you have a 28 to 70 on an R5, no one's going out anywhere in public with that, you know? And I'm not gonna use my professional gear personally, just out of the fact that I don't want to risk things that I need for active booked clients. I think everyone needs some sort of personal camera. Even with our film, my backup film, I have kind of backups of everything, just like people have backups of digital, I have backup of film. But my backup of my main film camera is also my go-to for personal stuff. Or my backup, it's not a backup, just digitally. I do have like the X100V, but I'm kind of over it right now. So I think I need a new camera. I would love a Leica, but I don't want to spend the money on it. So
Yeah,
I
we've
think
had this
everyone just
discussion.
needs a tiny camera, you know? Team tiny camera.
I never got into my X100V.
I
Got it.
want
I
to
bought
like
it
it
at
more.
the peak of TikTok, right at the peak of TikTok. And I don't know. I don't like it. I've never liked it.
I like the potential it has, and I like some of the photos that I've seen people take. And I have liked it in seasons. When I was getting more into film, I do a mix of the Fuji X100V and film, and clients were very satisfied with like the filmy look that I was getting with the X100V. So it was kind of complementary to film. I don't even bring the X100V to wedding days anymore. But some of the photos I see people take are really good. For me, it does make you slow down like a film camera. And sometimes when I want to take a digital photo, I just want to take a digital photo. I don't want to like mess around with this kind of clunky thing. So I don't know. I think too, learning the menus of Fuji was like, oh, this is
They're not very
weird.
user friendly.
Yeah. But I don't know. I like it. I just took it on family vacation. Hey, I did take photos of my kid, but it died like the 5 minutes that I had it out because I forgot a battery. So, yeah.
Yeah. At the back, yeah. I've tried. My favorite thing that I did with the X100V was I filmed a whole wedding video on it, and that was fun because it like
That's crazy.
baked. It was like I had my proper videographer there, but I was just
Yeah.
taking photo and video and made a highlight film with the X100V. And it just bakes in the Fujifilm colors, so it's like already like color graded, and it made this cool, no stabilization, like proper, almost home movie, but not home movie. It was just like cool. I used on-camera audio. I didn't try to frill it up with anything, and I've taken some photos on family holidays as well, like on camping trips. But I don't like the color profile that I chose. And
I
now
think both of us need new like recipes.
I think we should both
film
buy
recipes.
Leicas.
I think we should both
No,
buy
that one.
Leicas.
I think we should. I think Leica should listen to this and send us some. That would be great.
Please. I don't think they ever would, but it's okay.
No.
No.
I think I want the what were we talking about? I want the M3. Is that the manual one? The film one?
M6.
M6. That's
They had a
the
new
one.
release of the M6. Yeah, I would love a Leica. I know a lot of people who are switching to shooting Fuji and Leica in the wedding industry, and for most people, when I really like their work, like personally, I like their work. I might not even be their friend. Like I like their work, their photos. A lot of them are shooting Fuji and Leica. They're not shooting Canon. They're not shooting Sony. They're not shooting Nikon. And it just makes me think maybe a Leica should be in my future. But I'm talking the kits that they're using. Like, man, if people think a 28 to 70 is expensive, you don't even want to look into what I would like to buy.
There was
setup
a
I would like to
time
own.
that I had a Leica shopping cart, and I had it all in my cart, and I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And it was tens of thousands of dollars. And even worse because I'm in Australia, so there's exchange rates and everything on top of that as well. And it was a lot of money. But it's also, I feel like the Leicas and the Fujis are essentially the like film equivalent of other cameras, like your Sonys, your Nikons, your Canons are great workhorses. They do a great job and they're reliable and they've got super fast autofocus, and they'll always be technically the best cameras and probably technically the best option. Just like a mirrorless or a digital camera is always going to be technically better and technically the most, the superior option over a film camera. But the Leica look and the Leica glass just has that feel to it. It just has that like color.
I mean,
that
I could
everything.
get an actual technically better image on a Fuji, like medium format digital camera, obviously, than my R5. Like, actually, it is a better camera. It is going to be slower given it's a medium format digital camera. So there's going to be drawbacks, kind of like film. Like, you're going to have to shoot a little slower. I think the hardest part for me would be I only carry one digital camera. If I switched to Leica and Fuji, I would feel obligated to carry more than one digital camera on a wedding day. I only carry the one digital camera with the one lens. And I know there's a lot of people who are like, screw the 28-70. Maybe that's you. I feel like that was you. Who's like, prime. That was you.
That was me.
I only use the 28-70. And I always have a second shooter who shoots on prime lenses for that reason.
Bring second shooters.
See, that's how you get away with only using the 28-70 is you have a second shooter. But anyways, I only use the 28-70. If I were to shoot, like move to Leica or Fuji, I would need multiple cameras, I think. I don't know. Everything would have to change.
What would your delivery percentages be between digital and film? If you're bringing 5 film cameras to 1 digital camera, what would you think your ratio would be? And a second shooter. What do you think? Do you have a second shooter now that your husband's gone?
Yeah, well, I will. A second shooter is included in all my packages. So I will figure that one out when we get there. Oh, he has to finish out the rest of the weddings at least. And then maybe I'll beg him to stay for next year. We'll see. He's been trained for... I trained him. He doesn't have a replacement yet. So he cannot vanish from weddings, just magically go away. We'll see. In the winter, I guess I'll have to train someone. If you would like to be my second shooter, DM me.
Yeah,
maybe.
LA,
if you live in America.
Mainly LA, isn't it?
Yeah. Please don't DM me if you live in Australia. I love you,
from
but
Australia.
Yeah.
It's about 65% of my audience is actually American, so that could work. And I have lots of people from LA. So if you do want to go and learn how to take photos differently, go to Summer. She'll be able to teach her. And she taught her husband. So
and I think he takes really great images.
So what lenses does he shoot on? If you're on the 28-70, what lenses is he taking?
He has a 35, an 85, and a 16 question mark?
Yeah, 16's sick.
I think it's a 16. I think so. Maybe it's a 14. Like it's tiny.
No. Is it that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's that. Yeah.
If we get
I think that's it.
There you go. Yeah, that's the 16. That's a great little lens. That's one of my favorite lenses. That's the lens that got me into wide-angled stuff. So I went from the 16 2.8 to the 15 to 35 because it just makes it a bit more usable through an entire wedding day if I need to get into like 24 or something. And then I went and bought that fisheye 2 weeks ago. So now I've got 8 to 15 and it's like a full barrel. Because your film camera's the equivalent of like a 15mm, isn't it? Or 14?
It might be. I have the Lomography fisheye for anyone listening, and it is a fisheye. So I wish we could Google that right now and know what the equivalent of it is. But I would say it's probably wider than 15 because, I mean, it looks like a fisheye. You know what I mean?
35mm. Lomography fisheye number 2.
Lomography fisheye number 2.
Lomography fisheye number 2. What is that mainly dance floor stuff?
It depends on the wedding. If it's not going to fit the couple, I might not use it, but I just bought it because I like it. I like taking it to conferences and workshops, and I always tell people, I'm like, yeah, give me something weird. Think 90s band pick, you know? So it's just fun. It's just different, you know? That's
a 10mm fisheye lens. Direct optical viewfinder, 10mm fisheye lens, 35mm film, so you can buy it from fucking Amazon. Fixed f8 aperture, and it runs on 2 AA batteries.
It is a toy camera.
Yeah. I saw that. I remember you speaking about it somewhere. Maybe you put a story up about it with your film camera, and I looked at it and I was like, that looks fucking weird. I'm going to find it. And
it's a great conversation starter, too.
Yeah, it looks like you know those Google cars that drive around and do the street views with the thing on the top? That's what it looks like. That's exactly what it looks like driving around.
It's funnier when I'm at a wedding and I'm clearly, young, I guess. I don't feel that young anymore now that I have a kid, but I'm still young. And someone's like...
Young. Summer, you're a fucking baby, mate.
And Someone walks up to me. They're like, "Wow, I remember that camera. I had that when I was like 12 from Urban Outfitters and like I don't know, the early 2000s or something." And I was like, "Hold up. I don't think I was like barely born." So yeah, evidently they
you're
had
26,
a wave.
So you were born
99.
end of the 90s, weren't you?
Yeah.
99?
Yeah.
Fuck, that's some good maths for this early in the morning. It's now just
That was
11
pretty
o'clock
good.
in the morning, and I'm doing maths straight out of the gate. Because I'm a 91 baby, and I feel like we're an entirely different generation.
Hey now.
Entirely different. I'm old man now. We're old man. What was I going to say? Because you do a lot of education as well, but you've done education since you started, essentially.
So yeah, so I went full time when I was like 19. I started teaching when I was 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you start a full-time wedding photography business at 19?
Well, you see, it's not like I was making that much money, but I was so
That's
young
true.
that I didn't have too many expenses, so I could take much bigger risk. I mean, I lived that starving artist life. I lived in a tiny home that was $500, and I literally had to handle my own poop because it had a composting toilet. Like, I did
Like an
what it
actual
took.
tiny home.
No, yes, like 86 square feet, I think, something like that. Yeah, tiny home, composting toilet, like literally to handle my own poop, like actually. So I did kind of what it took to make it. I was more of the kind of person that I'd rather risk it all and make it than spend 4 years just trying to make a comfortable living wage. You know? So
Yeah.
I don't know. I took risks that me now, I would. I don't know. I take a lot of risks now too, but I don't think I would have taken the risk I took then. But I was fine living on black bean burgers on a hot plate in a tiny home with my dog, no security net. Because for me, I just needed to devote all my energy to this business and not have any distractions. So I did it. I am very much, when people are like, oh, you need to build up this kind of savings account and you need to make sure you have like 3 months of a wage in there. I was like, screw this. I'm just going to quit my job and see what happens. I had no savings account. I had like $1,000 to my name. And I DoorDashed for like a month to build up a savings account and quit my job. And here we are now. Within 6 months, I had enough bookings to move to Seattle, live a pretty decent life, especially for an artist at 19 years old. And now we live in LA, and me and my husband have worked full time in this business for almost 3 years now.
So what were you doing handling your own poo in a tiny house? What job did you have before that?
I worked for like, I was going to college. So I'm from Georgia, which in the States is the East Coast. Went to a couple of different colleges, started college early, and I was on my third college. I needed an internship for the program I wanted to get into. I wanted to get into like an art marketing program. How cool is that? Half a photography degree, half of a marketing degree, which is literally what I do now. And I never got it.
That's enough. That's all you need.
Yeah, it was a dream degree. This was a genius degree, but for me to get into the art portion of the program, I had to have an internship. So moved to Oregon for the summer to take an internship doing like media, and got offered a job at a different place that knew of me from that internship. And I was like, this is my sign. I'm supposed to stay on the West Coast. So I stayed with none of my things. I'm telling you, I take risk. I had no belongings. I had no car. I had a suitcase for the summer, and I just was like, cool. I just got offered a job back then at $20 an hour as a 19-year-old, which being from the South, minimum wage was $7. So to me, I was like, that is a big girl job with no degree. I'm not going back home. So I stayed. 3 months into that job, it sucked, and quit my job to do photography full time. And here we are now.
So did you go straight from that to weddings, or did you do other stuff first?
All of it was media like related. I at one point went to this school that was barely a school where we had to have jobs to be a part of the school. It's kind of like cult. I'm kidding.
That sounds heaps culty when you say it.
It was kind of. It was religious. But anyways.
Did you have to wear the same clothes?
It was pretty conservative, yes. You couldn't wear like leggings, you had to be at your desk by a certain time reading your Bible. So yes, it was, but it was not a cult. It was a Christian
Why
organization.
can't you wear leggings?
It was very, you definitely could not have cussed. You would have gotten a D point for that. Disciplinary point.
A D point. Can we let's dive back into the cult that you joined in?
Stop it.
But you didn't think you'd be talking about cults.
It was just a really strict Bible college.
School. Bible
Basically,
college.
I'm kidding. I didn't last long. So the thing is, we had to have a job when we went there. So I was fresh out of high school.
Did you have to work at the school?
For free, yes.
That's normal. That's
And
healthy.
I got my job on campus in media. So it was actually great. I learned a lot about photography in that 6 months of staying there before I realized this is horrible for my mental health. I'm going to a normal college. And I got to shoot, portraits. I got to shoot events. I got to shoot concerts, whatever a Christian organization is doing, church,
Did
staff
they let
photos.
you leave, or did you have to go under the cover of darkness?
I mean, it actually was kind of hard. They were not in favor of me leaving because
They never are.
Because they're like, you should just, pray more. And I'm like, yo, I need mental health help. Like, I need a doctor. So
Did you try praying more to make your mental health better?
I'm sure I tried.
You shouldn't leave school.
Man.
You should. Oh, I can't get my
should pray
American
more.
audience. My audience is too American for me to get too atheistic.
Religious.
Just more anti-religious, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So from cult.
So basically, I don't normally
wedding.
bring up my spirituality, but basically, I grew up very Christian, went to Bible college, didn't last at Bible college, went to normal college. At normal college, I needed a internship, so I went and interned at a church, and I ran all of their media for the summer. A different church wanted me. They offered me a really good job, full-time communications director. Well, it eventually ended up there. At that age, that was a really good job in the space I was in the Christian realm. So I took it. Job was horrible. The guy that hired me, he got fired the day I entered staff for like a giant financial scandal. So the pastor that hired me left. It was crazy. For people listening that are Christian, they're going to think I have all this religious trauma. I swear that's not why I'm not going to church right now. But all of that to say, I left that job and I had a ton of photo experience from years of like landscape photography and traveling and camping with all my friends. And when I did go to normal college for that year and a half, I traveled a good bit with like the landscape world and posted. I was still very active on socials pre-wedding photography in like the landscape world, like camping and hiking and stuff. I don't do that anymore, but that was what I was in. And that world was super cool in like 2017. So I had kind of a following, not really, like 5,000 followers in 2017, which for 2017,
Pretty good.
Not bad. So when I transitioned into more elopements, it was a natural transition. And I never wanted to do weddings. I was working at the church job. Someone told me I should shoot weddings. And I'm like, ew, every 20-year-old woman with a camera shoots weddings. That's gross. Here we are now, but someone introduced me to elopements, and she told me she made $12,000 to go shoot an elopement, hike in Tahoe overnight with the stars, and I was like, deal. Quit my job 3 months later. I was like, if she can do that, I can do that too. And so I decided I was going to figure it out. And so I branded as an elopement photographer, went and did little styled shoots at waterfalls, like, just not what they are now, but I just like find a couple and throw a Goodwill wedding dress on them and take photos of them at a waterfall. And it booked me a ton of work. So then like a year and a half later, I was shooting normal weddings and I grew a lot on social media. So I started teaching social media at workshops. That was how the education started at 21 years old. And now I shoot normal weddings, but I started elopements because I liked nature. I didn't really like crowds. I had anxiety around large crowds and loud noises, whereas now I love parties and crowds, and most of my weddings are like multi-day events with lots of people. So it's been a journey.
So what was your first proper wedding experience that made you go, oh, these aren't actually that bad? Because I was in the same boat where I was like, fuck weddings. No interest in weddings ever. Every wedding photographer just wears a suit and a tie and they're all losers. And then I shot one and it was super relaxed, super calm. I mean, we spoke about this on your podcast, so it's not brand new information, but went and shot a wedding and it was super relaxed. So what was your sort of tipping point that you were like, maybe these aren't actually as bad as I thought? And have you had did you get any bad experience in those first ones to kind of like carve your path to sort of where you are now?
I think it was more just a growing evolution of growing up. So the branding for the elopement world really worked because it wasn't that soon later that thing called COVID happened where everyone had to elope. And so for me, it actually exponentially skyrocketed my career, which sounds horrible to everyone listening that lost all of their money during COVID. I'm so sorry. But for me, branding as an elopement photographer and then COVID happening, it really worked out in some ways. So smaller events were happening. Obviously, I started booking like some more normal weddings. I definitely shot maybe like a slightly illegal one at one point where it's like, oh, we're not having a reception. I show up, there's like 60 people. That's illegal in Washington to do that during COVID. So, I started shooting like, accidental real weddings. And I was like, okay, this isn't horrible, but it still was. So I'm not going to say that weddings were miraculously amazing. I enjoyed photographing. When it came to like the mental health aspect of could I handle what I ended up doing, which was when we first moved to LA, I had a 300-person indoor, classic indoor large luxury wedding. Could I have handled that 5 years ago? Absolutely not. I would have probably ended up in the hospital, But I will say there was no classic tipping point. I think genuinely, I just don't have those issues anymore. Pregnancy cured a lot of issues for me. And I will openly admit that definitely for like a year and a half of my career, I medicated to shoot weddings. And I don't care admitting that because, if you're listening to this and you're like, man, they seem kind of stressful. I still really enjoyed what I did. And I enjoyed capturing what I was capturing. And it was okay that it wasn't the easiest thing for me.
I think we all kind of have our own little way of medicating to get through a wedding day because it's not a normal experience.
It's a crazy
that
experience.
People are doing. Mine is through talking and control. Like I control the wedding day, and I have a very strict. People see online like how much fun we have and how relaxed we are and how we talk on a wedding day and like we turn up in our casual clothes and we're all like calm and casual and thing. But on the back end, there's been like 6 months of emails making sure that we have the most rigid, organized and orchestrated timeline, family photo list and everything so that on the wedding day, I can be that calm person because I know I've got a skeleton. Like I know that and this is why we always work the same timeline because it fucking works. It's been tried and tested over like 400
But your
weddings.
timeline is so different than American timelines. I was listening to you and Lauren's episode and I was like, wow, this is so different.
But how is it different? How do you do it any different?
But you were explaining your timeline, and it's not that it was completely different, but oh my gosh, it was the 50 minutes for shooting the group photos and portraits at sunset. I cannot imagine pulling a couple for more than 10 minutes.
Really? Nah.
Yeah.
By that point, people just kind of fucking over it. They just want to get out, and they've been around their friends and family.
The party is just starting at that point. You know what I mean?
The party starts after sunset here. After sunset.
No, but
so
that's
we
what
have
I mean. Like, to take them away during the reception. Is that not when they're like eating and drinking and having fun?
We do it in between. So normally they like enter the reception. Let's say 6 o'clock. That'd be pretty standard. 6 o'clock, enter the reception. Entrees. And then we normally go out at like in between entrees and mains or just after mains.
For 50 minutes? Or did you say 15?
50.
50.
Most people schedule like an hour and a half over sunset.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I can't imagine.
So people are aware that we'll go out for that time over sunset, because we give them all of that extra time during cocktail hour. So I'll tell them, like, we're not going to, normally you do your family phone, or your, what do you fucking call them? Formals.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go and take
I've
photos.
never heard of that until that episode. Family photos.
Oh, really? Yeah, family photos. Take your family. I call family and special friend photos, so that way, because most of the family photos you don't actually care about. Nobody cares about their fucking aunties, but I mean, somebody's going to care about their aunties. Someone will clip that, and I will get so much shit for it. But we do those, but we say family and special friends. So like any friends that you have, work friends, school friends, get a photo with them, because that'll probably, like the group chat, just get a photo of the group chat that you've got.
Yeah.
And like that will mean so much more than a photo of you probably standing next to your aunties and uncles and that cousin that you haven't spoken to in 7 years. Like, you're not really going to do anything with it. Whereas the group chat photo will make it as the group chat icon, or it'll make it like on the wall, or that's the thing that you'll kind of print out and everybody will sort of like put in their house. Far more important. But we don't go out for photos after that. This is just how I run my day too. This isn't a standard. This isn't standard Australia. It is common for lots of people to go out for like at least half an hour at sunset, I would say. I'd say that's pretty common.
I'd say maybe I might go out for 20 minutes for sunset portraits of just the couple. But even sometimes these days it's like 5 to 15 minutes. But I think there's so much power in working in the like small vignettes of the day. I don't feel like I need sunset photos anymore, honestly. I'd say, I notice a moment with an interesting light. Boom, got it. Okay, I'd rather take 2 minutes all throughout the day than 20 minutes at sunset, because then the gallery will be so dynamic,
So we kind of do that. We try to take nice photos of people all of the time.
Yeah.
But our sunset photos are our like hanging out stage. Like, and it's not like it doesn't even have to be a good sunset. Like, it's just that time of the day where everybody's kind of, there's so much pressure and stress that builds up through the wedding day, like getting ready, stressful.
Yeah.
Then they have their ceremony and that's really stressful. Then they, but it's kind of like a little bit of an emotional release. Then they do they get fucking bombarded by all of their friends and family, and that's super stressful. Everybody gets touched out and they're all like overstimulated. So then we do the family photos and they just suck. And by the end of it, I can see my couple's faces and they're just like
over it.
Done. They're so over it. So then we try to kind of like pivot them a little bit and be like, well, just go take a break. Like, go and relax. Go enjoy your cocktail hour. We'll come back, we come back out at sunset. We'll come back out for 40, 50 minutes. But even then, 40, 50 minutes is like a stretch, because ideally I'd have 50 minutes, because then I don't need to rush anything. And the videos of me swearing at people and telling them to move, they're the 15-minute golden hours. If we've got 50 minutes, we like to take our time. Like, let's hang out. We'll fucking throw some people in the air. We get some fun photos of the bridal party, because they're always the ones that people like the most, I found. Like the real candid ones, where they are just mucking around together, and we do big group cuddles, and they've had a few drinks by that point. So they're relaxed, they're calm, they're feeling nicer. Then, we do some fun stuff. We set that energy level super fucking high. And then we bring them back, just a little bit of a couple session. I only need like 15 minutes for the couple session. Like, I can get a whole 60, 70 image gallery of the couple session in like 15 minutes. But we use that as our leaving them outside cue. Like, we always try to let...
what might be different is that you post a lot of bridal parties and I don't. And a lot of my couples, guess what they don't have? Bridal parties. Yeah. So I can't imagine taking a bridal party at golden hour, because for most of my couples, they're like, I'd rather get that done before the ceremony. And that way I can just not even worry about any portraits except for maybe 20 minutes of sunset photos with just the couple, because they want those weird, moody couples photos. But the wedding party stuff is like more, not an afterthought, but definitely pre-ceremony, let's get it done not a let's do it during cold an hour. And maybe it's because you share a lot of wedding parties. Your couples love their wedding parties. And my couples, I'm sure you love your wedding parties, but I probably have at least half of them not even do wedding parties anymore.
I love a wedding without a bridal party or wedding party. I've got to fucking change my wording, but I'm just really, really bad at it. But even when it's like, even when we shoot gay weddings, like boy weddings, I'm still calling them bridal parties, and it's wrong. I understand that it's wrong, and I'm trying to do better. I'm surprised. Wedding party is just what naturally comes out of my mouth. I don't know. Well, I said bridal party, and it's really bad. But I love a no wedding party wedding where there's nobody up there, because we can do it literally. We can just do 15 minutes of photos.
Yeah.
I just don't ever. My philosophy has always been to like over deliver. So I would rather send them too many photos of the things that they like and they want, and then they can delete them, rather than anybody ever messaging me and being like, hey, do you have any more photos of us with the bridal party? Because we don't do them before. We
do them before. I probably spend at least an hour before. So my timeline, do you want to know?
Yeah, go for it. From the top to the bottom.
Okay. Well, first of all, every couple that books me has like up to 12 hours. Everything's always all inclusive with everyone that books me. So that's unique, not normal. I'm not saying I would suggest it. That's just what I like doing. I love a good party.
Why 12 over 10?
Because a lot of my couples are like me now, and we like big parties, and I like them now. I'm not an elopement girly anymore. I love a good party. I love being there till the end of the night. I think sometimes when your guests are super drunk, and you are too, some crazy stuff happens in the best ways. So I love being there till the end. I don't get bored. I'm not one of those photographers that takes like fake images because there's nothing to shoot. There's always something to shoot, in my opinion. Unless just literally no one's dancing, it's a boring wedding. But I don't get that often. So anyways, I love a good full day coverage. So if the couple's only having 9 hours, I'll only be there for 9 hours. They'll pay the same price. You book my Saturday. You don't book my hours. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Have you had pushback with that? Because I've got 10 hours. So I do 10 hours every weekend. We will get to your timeline. But they make the most of every single 10 hours, even if it's a smaller wedding day. They're like,
had someone be like, since it's up to 12 and I only need 9, can I only do 9? And I just explain, it's maybe not the most standard in the wedding industry, but think of it like a set or a production. You're paying for me to be there for the day. And for my day, you're not paying for my hours. Just like you renting the venue. You're normally not paying for, hey, venue, can I be there only from 6 to 8? They're going to be like, no, you're renting the Saturday in May, So that's what my couples are now paying for me. And I just like that because I have enough inquiries to be fine with people saying no. There's going to be people that say no, that maybe only have $6,000. And they only want to pay for a photographer for $6,000 and maybe 6 hours of coverage. That's fine. They're not the best fit for me. I want to be there for their whole day. I want to document the whole thing. If you're having an after party, I want to drive you home,
Yeah. I have the exact same business model, and I don't think enough people do it, especially
everyone should do it. It makes no sense to do 6, 8, 10, 12 hours. Just shoot someone's whole entire wedding day. Yeah.
And so it wasn't until we started planning our wedding that I was like, this is too fucking confusing.
Yeah, you're like, wait, so why does it raise by $729 to go up to the 10-hour package? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And price anchoring as well, where people have like a really high price, like the $25,000 package, and it's got like 17 albums or whatever in it, and then they bring it down and they never book it. They've never booked that $25,000 package, but it's there
so the other one's like cheaper.
Yeah, so and they're like, oh, we can get the $25,000 wedding photographer for only $7,000, but he's still a $25,000. It's not a real fucking thing. It's not real.
I do have packages, but instead of a 6, 8, 10, 12-hour wedding day coverage, I now have a full day and a half weekend. So, and all are structured pretty all-inclusively. So the day and a half is up to 12 hours the day of and 2 to 4 hours the day before. Some couples use me for the full 4 the day before, which sometimes feels very exhausting because I don't feel like it's not for every wedding. It's fully needed to have me there for 4 hours the day before, but The day and a half is my most commonly booked package. If you're a wedding photographer and you're not offering a multi-day package, this is your sign to do it now. People want it.
What do you photograph before? What happens before the wedding?
Do you guys not have like rehearsal dinners the day before?
Fuck no.
No one's having a rehearsal dinner?
No.
No way.
We have a rehearsal at the venue for like 10 minutes where you just turn up and you're like, this is where we're going to stand.
They're not having a fun dinner. I have rehearsal dinners like decked out with details. You know, they look as fancy as some people's weddings sometimes.
I think if you did a day and a half package in Australia,
people would be like, what are we doing?
But also if you did book it, it would be the next morning.
Well, so that's my thing. So the day and a half,
recovery.
it can be 2.5 hours the day before or 2.5 hours the day after. So for my couples who have a standard city wedding to appease their family, but they like being edgy, going out in nature, things like that, I have had couples who've had a standard wedding day, and the day after, we run off and take portraits in the forest. So that's also an option. It's just very open-ended. People can do whatever they want with their day and a half. I don't care. I'm not shooting any other weddings that weekend, so I only shoot one wedding a weekend. That's the other thing. So it does me no harm in offering a multi-day package.
Yeah. So we try to shoot triple headers every weekend in summer.
Which you would be losing money if you let someone book your Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that. No way. No way.
See, I can't do a double header. I literally cannot do it. I will not be my best artist the day after.
I've got one coming up that I'm in South Australia on the Friday. On the Saturday, I'm in New South Wales, which is a 2-hour plane flight away.
Wow.
And then on the Sunday, I'm in Perth, which is a 5-hour flight away. So it's a triple header in 3 different states.
In 3 different countries? No? States.
Well, same country, but Australia is very fucking big.
Yeah, but flying. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yep. It's good. It's really good. It looks really terrifying. Good on paper. You make a lot of money in one weekend.
Well, on green paper.
Yeah, you figure it out, don't you? You figure it out later. That's future Josh's problem. I'll come up with the ideas now, and then future Josh deals with it.
I haven't done a double header on purpose. LOL, on purpose. I haven't done a double header on purpose in like 3 years. I did one last year pregnant, which was a double header 2-day wedding. So I had 2-day weddings. So from Thursday to Sunday I worked. But that's way easier than a triple header of real weddings because they were both at the same venue. So I shot rehearsal dinner and then wedding, and then rehearsal dinner, which is basically a break, and then a wedding. And so I made bank to be at the same venue for 4 days. It was great. Time of my life. Best weekend I've ever had, like financially, you know. If
I shoot only one wedding on the weekend, I feel bored. Like, what a waste of a weekend.
That's crazy. For me personally, I cannot physically give more than one wedding a weekend.
But I can give multiple days. You do. You do still do all of your own editing. And when are you going to get rid of it?
I don't know if I'll ever get rid of doing my own editing.
You're too arty.
Ask me in 5 years how I feel about editing.
Is your daughter walking yet?
No, maybe ask me when she's walking how I feel about editing.
We'll come back when she's a toddler. When she's a proper toddler.
Well, hopefully she might be maybe she'll be in some sort of daycare or preschool by then. That'll be different. Her being home is really hard. It's very distracting.
But also, didn't she just sleep for like 16 hours in one sitting?
Yep, my daughter slept from 7:30 to 10 in the morning. And yet last night, she slept from 8 to 9. And when we woke up, who knows how long she was awake because she was sitting in her crib awake, just sitting there, not crying. So,
see these here under my eyes, these big bags.
It looks like my daughter sleeps better than your grown daughter.
None of my kids have slept since they were born.
No.
They don't sleep through the night. Never have. My daughter's almost 6. Still here.
That is so rough.
My son wakes up every 45 minutes like clockwork.
No. Is your wife a stay-at-home wife, at least?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
But he does this thing because he doesn't sleep. He also doesn't. We went to the doctor about it because we were like, we understand that kids don't sleep. We've got one. We understand babies don't sleep. But this is stupid. Why why isn't he actually sleeping at all? Why is he waking up all of the time? And the doctor was just like, well, there's no easy way to tell you this, but he's just a low sleep needs baby. Where every other baby operates off 8 hours, he only needs 3.5 to 4. And she's like, I know this is bad news because I've got one as well. And so he's just a low sleep needs baby for 2 high sleep needs parents, which is good. It's all right. It's only going to get better.
I'm hoping that our baby stays on the trajectory that she's on, because so far, even though life feels kind of hard because we are both artists. Yes, my husband has worked in the wedding business for the past 2 years. He is leaving to go into the music industry. We haven't touched on that, but basically, we are both literally artists living in LA, also supporting a child. Normally, when you hear most wedding photographers, there's like someone with a nice, like, random, really good corporate job, you know? So, you know, yes, it is freaking hard. And do we think about daycare sometimes? Yes. But also, we live in the city, so we only have 1 car because we only need 1 car. If we did daycare, we need 2 cars. So, adult things that make life crazy when you live in a big city with horrible public transportation. But all of that to say, we are blessed with, so far, a very good sleeper. Very good sleeper.
So, what was my fucking question, Josh? How are you managing work? I mean, especially both being creators. Currently, I'm presuming it's a little bit easier because it's Jake, isn't it? It's not Jack.
Yeah.
Jack's my son. Jake's your husband. Yeah. So Jake's second shooting, and then is he looking after baby while you're editing? And that's kind of like the dynamic that you have now?
So, also educating. So, honestly, I think
we haven't
at
even
least
touched on fucking educating yet.
At least half of my work hours go to also educating, so, or more, which is crazy. But between podcasting, summer school, the community, shooting, content, presets, releasing drops for summer school. We have new drops in the educational community every month, coordinating all those kinds of things. Jake started out just second shooting like 3 years ago, and then probably went full time like 6 months later with me, and it was more admin. It was answering emails, sending contracts, and throughout the years, everything has just shifted based off life stage. The only time I've outsourced my editing was to Jake when I was too pregnant to sit for more than 30 minutes. So outside of that, I've always edited, but he has culled for the past 2 years. I have not culled until the past 2 to 3 months. Once we made the decision he was going to be basically out of the business by August, in May. I don't think he'll be out by August, but more realistically September. He's still working on finding work because he's trying to gig. So just like a wedding photographer, he's trying to do like pro sound gigging and stuff, running sound for music venues, stuff like that. So as of now, he's still trying to meet the right people. It's a lot like the wedding industry, you know, network, get your name out there, go to music, go to shows, stuff like that. So anyways, still trying to meet the right people, but I have had to relearn how to do everything because I hadn't sent my own email. Like, yes, okay, sure, I'll send some emails, but I hadn't sent my own email consistently in probably 2 years. So I have an assistant because I'm big on outsourcing everything. Yeah.
And the only time emails take more than 24 hours to reply to is one that I need to action.
Yeah.
Because I just think about literally everything else. So what would your ratios be between wedding work and education work? And I already know the answer because you're not the answer, but I know that you're very big on working in the field while educating.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Well, sorry if I interrupted. What was the rest of the question?
I didn't actually figure it. I was just figuring it out as I went along, as I do with everything in life.
No, yeah. I mean, you know me. And maybe my opinion will change and you can ask me then why I feel that way. But I don't personally want to be an educator if I'm not actively in the industry. So I would like to ideally be shooting at least say 5 to 10 weddings a year to be teaching on, well, specifically if you're going to be teaching on like bookings and like marketing and what, like you don't understand that side of the industry if you're not actively searching and getting wedding clients. Do you know what I mean? So I don't personally want to really be teaching on maybe say a lot of the business side. I know you could be a business coach, which are just, you know, pastors without the religious factor of it. But I don't want to be a coach. I want to be an educator. And those are two different things. So, you know, whatever. Coaches are coaches. It's just its own thing. And I am not called to be a pastor of the secular world. But I do love teaching photographers and growing community.
You could go back and be a pastor of your cult school.
I could. Exactly.
You could go back and then everybody would work for you for free. That's fucking wild. That's where my brain has been at since you said you were in a cult. I haven't fucking left.
I can't do Tog Talk anymore. I need to hear about the cult. It wasn't a cult. It was just a school. It was just a school. I promise it wasn't a cult. It was just a school.
You went to a school that you needed to work at for free. You needed to work there. There was a pastor that watched over. Summer, you were in a cult, and that's where my brain has been. I'm trying to uphold photography conversations, and all I want to know about is the cult.
He's like, tell me more about the cult. I'll tell you more after the fact, because someone else big in the industry went to the same school.
Oh, fun.
Actually, three of us.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And
I know.
Now you're all here.
And now we're all educators starting our own cult.
That's good. That's good. You're making that cult money. You saw it firsthand at school. You were like, fuck, this isn't bad, is it? I might take myself a slice of this pie. Can you finish your timeline, your wedding timeline?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So average day, say we're shooting 12 hours with an after party. We're talking 12 to 12. Say we're shooting no after party, maybe like 11 to 10:30, 11 to 10, 10 to 10, 12 to 10. Maybe I'm not staying for 12 hours. So morning, details, maybe an hour. I don't know. Because it's all inclusive, I can spend as much time as I want in the morning. I don't have to rush through anything. I can shoot the details for like an hour. It's no big deal. Nothing else happening, you know? So I can take my time on things like that. And then I'll probably shoot maybe the girls a little while Jake's with the guys. I love having a second shooter too, because I love that Jake is a dude shooting normally the dudes. Say it's obviously there's different types of weddings and stuff. Maybe there's a wedding with no dudes. But anyways, for a lot of weddings, the dudes and the gals, I love that he gets to shoot them because somehow he just gets photos that feel more like them. I show up with my big 28 to 70, this little gal dressed nice, and I feel like they transform into prim and proper men. He gets like them just having fun and hanging out. So I love having him there, even for that like side of it, you know. But anyways, he's with the dudes, I'm with the ladies, shooting the getting ready, and then I don't know, say that's like 1 to 2, we shoot a first look and then do everything else. If they are willing to do family photos before the ceremony, we'll even do family photos, get it all over.
What would your first look ratio, how many first looks are you doing out of 100 weddings? How many would have a first look?
I'd say probably like 70% first look, maybe 80.
Because Lauren said the same thing. They push the first look so much, whereas most of our reactions are at the aisle.
I don't feel like I push it on them. I just think for the average person, well, even just timeline. If you don't do a first look, you have to do 50 minutes at sunset doing portraits. You know, you have to, at some point, you have to take the photos with your bridal party, which is not the fastest thing, you know? So if you can get all of that done pre-ceremony, and even for some of my couples, they go as far as to even getting the family photos done pre-ceremony, then the moment your ceremony starts, the moment your wedding starts, you can just be 1000% present with the day. You don't have to worry about any photos. And if I do steal you, maybe it's for 10 minutes, you know? So I think first looks are really beneficial for that side of it. Say a couple's not having a first look, I will still knock out all of the wedding party photos outside of a big group portraits. And then maybe we'll take 2 or 3 of those after family portraits. And all large portraits by the end of family portraits are over. Well, normally I do them before family portraits because normally the wedding party isn't needed for family portraits. So we knock out those 3 photos. They're out of there. Family time out of there. They get to go to couple gets to go to cocktail hour, and you know, portraits are basically done unless we want to do 10 or 20 minutes at. Obviously, we still would need to take portraits if they didn't have a first look. So whether it's 10 or 20 after their family photos or 10 or 20 during sunset. But for most of my couples, say they have a 2:30 first look and a 4:30 ceremony. 2:30 first look, from 3 to 4, all mandatory portraits. So wedding party, maybe some family photos. If not family photos, then wedding party and couples photos pre-ceremony. Say you wait till sunset and the bride spills wine all over her white dress. So you don't have any photos together. You don't have any photos together.
So we take a nice photo. So during family photos, we take a nice photo of the bride and the groom, like just like a nice family, you know, like a nice fucking photo of them. Then we take a nice photo of all of team 1. We take a nice photo of all of team 2, and we take a nice photo of the bride, groom, bride, whatever it is, with each member of their bridal party. So we have a nice portrait of every single one of them, and we call them our safety net. So why can't that
just be the photos?
Because we like to have fun. We would pop bottles of champagne together and fuck around and, you know, make human pyramids and like photos that, like anybody can take that. Anybody can put people in the shade in front of a nice bush and take a picture of it. Yeah. What we like to do is take a whole bunch of wedding photos that you would never, and this is why the internet hates us so much, because we take photos that you'd never fucking see. Like if I can get the bridal party to, like, we pop bottles of champagne. That's when we're like pouring champagne into people's mouths. That's when we do like piggyback races where the bride, like all the bridesmaids jump on the groomsmen's backs and we run up and down a field and like have races, or we make a human pyramid, or we throw the groom in the air as high as we can, and like heaps of shit. That's just like when we're just less, I like to think of them less as photos that we're taking and more of just like giving the bride and the groom an opportunity to hang out with their favorite people. Like they picked, you know, yes, you invite all of these people to your wedding, but you only pick your favorite 4 for your, you know, your bridal party, your couple party, what is it called?
What's
Wedding
interesting
party.
Is a lot of my couples, it's already a little much to get them to step away for the 20 minutes at sunset. That I don't want to miss my wedding kind of perspective. So to step away for more than that, say an hour, maybe since they're with their friends, maybe it's not as bad, but I think it's just clientele, I guess. Yeah, I could not, I mean, it sounds fun, but my clients would never do it.
See, I'm trying to give them a wedding and take them away from their family.
You're like, let me get you away from these people.
Literally, it's like, and I tell all of my couples, because most of my couples are neurospicy, and they're all like, and I'm just like, if at any point you need a break, if at any point you just kind of need to get out of here, just come and get me and say, hey Josh, we need to go take that photo, and we just go outside and just like we'll just go outside. Even if I don't have a camera on me, I just fucking walk outside with the couple, because we have that opportunity because we're the photographers. If we take the couple out, nobody second guesses it. They're just like, oh, they're going out with the photographer. Like, cool, out they go.
Can I ask Australia and your vibe? Do you drink at your weddings?
Oh shit! From the fucking boys getting ready to the end.
So yeah, that's in America, like controversial topic.
Yeah, I'd love the Facebook groups and all their comments, especially the vendor tables fucking Facebook group. It's absolutely wild how far people will go to prove that they're not drinking at a wedding, whereas we have to go and prove that we are drinking at a wedding so that the guests people think don't pick on us. Yeah, they're like, oh, what a fucking square.
I had a wedding where the owner of the restaurant for the rehearsal dinner, again, I was shooting a pretty big production rehearsal dinner. He was trying to give me like shots, and I was like, shoot, like in my point in my career now, this is inappropriate. But at the point that it is the owner of the restaurant who is the best friend of the dad, of the groom, of the dad, it's like, I think for me now, it's kind of, okay, what what fits with what wedding, you know? Like, it was a classy shot. It wasn't, you know, I'm not just taking shots, but it was, you know, it was a great big fat Greek wedding, you know? So it was weirder if I said no than if I took it.
See, when we do Greek weddings, do they do that thing where they click and drink off the floor like they do the shots?
Oh, I did not. They did not drink off the floor, but that'd be so fun.
Yeah, in Australia, maybe it's just Australian Greeks, but they do the, oh, what's the song? If you're a Greek person listening to this, tell me what the fucking song is, because you'll know it and I can almost sing it. But they're like, they click and they all stand in a circle and they dance around and they click and then they go down to the ground and the shots are on the floor. So they line all the shots up in a circle and they put their hands behind their back and you have to drink it without using your hands and you finish the shot. I join in on that.
Oh, that's amazing.
Don't you do that in America?
I haven't seen that happen, but
I don't do many Greek weddings. But the ones that I do, they're always like that. They're always super fun. Like the celebrant or the fuck.
Get like a Diet Coke with a lime, I get worried that someone thinks I'm drinking a cocktail.
That's so stupid. That is so stupid, America in general. Like,
I think it's also clientele. I definitely had drinks more in the beginning of my career when it felt more appropriate. Would my clients care? A lot of my clients probably wouldn't. Planners, venues, that's who would care now.
That's so boring. We're all getting through this together. We may as well all be having fun at the same time.
Yeah.
How
Maybe
often
we
do you
take
see
better
drugs
photos
at
if we're having fun. I don't think I see drugs that often. Do you see a lot of drugs?
Yeah, most weddings. Does Jake ever get offered drugs?
I should ask Jake because he looks like someone that would get offered drugs, I feel. I don't think he has. I feel like he would have told me.
I get offered a line at like 90% of the weddings that I shoot.
Okay, that's definitely like all of my... I had an Australian friend in the space fly in for a conference once, and he was like, oh, shoot, I accidentally flew in with my cocaine in my wallet. And I'm like, Australians, man.
It's just more fun. Why don't...
they're crazy. What? Every Australian I've ever met somehow is talking about coke.
Yeah, it's good.
It's just... I just feel... I feel like it's just an Australian thing, though, no? I mean, I can't talk for the Europeans listening to this, but I feel like it's culturally so much more normal in Australia than it is in America.
It's still illegal here. We'll clear that up. It's still illegal, but it's at every single
Australian
wedding.
You meet is going to be talking about some sort of drug, I feel.
Yeah, we did a getting ready once, and I will never forget it. I was doing the getting ready photos, and I had the details, and I'd made my little flat lay, my little detail photo that I was taking, and the groom's party kept putting bags of cocaine in the getting
details?
Ready photos, like in the details. And then I would go and do something, and I'd come back and they were trying to hide cocaine in the photos so that they would be delivered. I had to deliver 2 different galleries, one with drugs and one without drugs in it. And then, but see, I think this is maybe a little bit more common for me because I've got friends that are like, I've never been offered drugs at a wedding.
It's just your clientele. It's the cussing, the tattoos.
Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it is.
I don't know. I've definitely had clients where I think they've gone off and done things, but they haven't made it apparent to me.
Oh, I had a wedding once where they had their first argument because the groom didn't share his cocaine with his wife.
That's so funny. I did have a more hippie wedding where they ceremonial took something during the ceremony, like a psychedelic.
Like LSD or a mushroom.
I didn't ask what was in it, but they took something psychedelic.
You didn't ask what drugs they were taking. You're taking photos of people taking drugs.
It wasn't. I didn't feel like it was my place to ask them what they were consuming.
Hey, how many of me can you see right now? Let's figure out what we're on.
That wedding definitely went to like 8 the next morning for sure.
Yeah, that's a day in 2 halves.
Yes, I did not stay for 24-hour coverage.
You didn't stay till close? I thought you said you always finish out weddings, whether they're on psychedelics or not.
That wedding was not ending. That wedding was never going to end.
Summer, we didn't talk heaps about your education, but can you quickly tell us what you do?
Yes.
What you educate, why you're really fucking good at it, why you're one of the OGs, and then where people can find you. please.
Yeah. So when people ask what I teach on, I kind of can and do talk about everything. I have taught on many things throughout the past years. I ran 2 different coaching programs last year, so I've talked a lot about business, but I also still am nerdy and like gear and getting creative and all those sorts of things. So summer school was birthed because I used to have a coaching program, and I just felt like I didn't love selling a, $3,000-$4,000 ticket to maybe, I could help people as much as I wanted, but they had to put in the work too. And I don't know, it just wasn't fulfilling to be charging so much to help photographers book things, I wanted to offer something way more approachable, because if it's a beginning photographer like me when I started, I did not have $4,000, So anyways, summer school now is $40 a month. Think of it like a Patreon on steroids. It's a subscription service through a really awesome community-based software where you can interact with all of the other members. All of the classes and educational content drops inside of that platform that you can access on your phone, on the web. There's an app, all the things. So yeah, and you have direct access to me. You can DM me inside of it at any point. So if you ever have any questions on literally anything, you have a direct line to Summer Grace. And some of the other guest educators are in there as well. Not all of them. It's not required of them to, engage inside of it, but we have amazing guest teachers come in too. I think Josh is going to do a class one day. We've had panel discussions. Oh yeah. So we have lots of things. We have a film class taught by someone that knows even more about film than me, on someone that literally shoots large format at weddings. Talk about, that's an OG right there. So yeah, we have film classes, social media discussions, technical classes, flash classes from an editorial photographer. We have a class from a senior photographer. We have classes dropping in 2 days from a family photographer. So whatever kind of photographer you are listening or want to become, you should be able to learn things inside of summer school. And at a price point that is really approachable for literally any level, beginner or expert. But if you want free education too, I have Summer School, the podcast, as well. And I drop tips on Instagram a good bit. I feel as though my reels are kind of educational, kind of what I'm shooting. I don't know. It's just kind of my life as well. So if you want to get involved and become friends, go find me over there at summergrace.photo.
And in your summer school, people are booking paid gigs from other photographers.
Yes, yeah. So we even have a help wanted section where sometimes people will post, hey, I have this thing coming up, or say I get asked something, then I can put it there and say, hey, I just got asked to do this thing, I'm not available for it, I'll send it to summer school members. But yeah, recently one of our summer school members ended up second shooting a gig with another summer school member. So people are literally booking work from being a part of the community as well. So easily that $40 paid for itself. So that's really cool that the community is literally helping each other out. Freaking awesome. People have been meeting up recently. We've had meetups in person, and hopefully we'll have summer camp again one day. We had summer camp last year, and this year with a baby, we have put that on pause. But in the future, there should be yearly workshops as well that will be in person, and priority will go to, obviously, summer school members.
So for those of you that message me and say, hey, Josh, I'd love you to come and do a workshop in the States, or hey, Josh, is there anything like camp photography, which is the workshop that I was just on, but like in America, this is probably where you should go and do it, because it's literally what we fucking did here, but Summer does it over there, and it's very good. But anyway, if you're still here, this is a nice little long one, isn't it? It's way longer than when I sit here talking to myself. And I feel like me and Summer, because this is also
could go forever.
So we're like, now we would be 3 hours into talking on the internet, not including the 45 minutes before and probably the hour that we'll do now. But if you want to, there is another episode with me and I talk more about my story over on Summer School. Summer School? That's the podcast, isn't it?
Yeah, Summer School, the pod.
Yeah, it's such a fucking good name. Anyway, if you made it here, thank you so much for listening. Tune in next week when I'll talk about something else. Anyway, goodbye. I love you very much. Peace.